Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're the show that jumps into different sources to pull out those key nuggets of knowledge, helping you get up to speed fast. Today, we're looking at something pretty fundamental. It's this idea, this shift from being, pushed towards something to being pulled. Our source material is some really interesting excerpts from a text called From Push to Pull, The Purpose-Driven Life. And our mission really is to figure out how this simple sounding distinction, push versus pull, might actually hold some surprising keys for you, for sustained effort, maybe even finding more fulfillment. Because we've all felt that grind, right? That constant pressure.
Oh, absolutely. That feeling of always chasing something or meeting expectations.
Yeah, exactly. But what if there's another way, a different kind of energy source that doesn't just, run out?
Well, that's right at the heart of what this source gets into. It draws a really clean line between two kinds of motivation. There's the push, which it says is often external, things like deadlines, other people's expectations, maybe just habit even, stuff forcing you along.
Okay, yeah, I recognize that.
But then it contrasts this with the pull.
Mm-hmm.
And this is internal. It's driven by purpose, not by pressure. And it makes a point that this isn't just playing with words. It's a really profound difference in where the drive comes from outside you or inside.
Right. So, okay, we know the push, the deadlines, the boss, whatever, but how does this pull actually, show up? The text puts it nicely. The aim isn't to be pushed, but to be pulled. Not by pleasure, but by purpose. That line really jumped out at me. It feels like it's asking us to completely reorient how we think about our energy, moving from have to towards want to. But what's the engine behind that pull? What makes it stick?
Yeah, and it's not just about feeling nicer about doing things, although that might be part of it. If you think about the push, it often feels like it runs on finite energy. Like imagine compressing a spring, there's only so much tension it can hold before it just snaps back or maybe loses its bounce altogether. It's reactive.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like burning fuel.
Exactly. Whereas the pull, this is more aligned with what we call intrinsic motivation.
Yep.
It's proactive. When you're pulled by purpose, the activity itself can start to feel rewarding. And that actually reduces the mental effort. That friction and resistance you feel when someone's making you do something.
So less fighting against it.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It makes the whole thing much more sustainable and often, frankly, more enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's the difference between doing something for a reward or to dodge a punishment versus doing it because the act itself just feels meaningful to you.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that. I mean, I can think of so many times I've been just grinding away because of a deadline, and it felt exhausting, like wading through mud. But then sometimes, maybe not often enough, you're working on something you genuinely care about, something that links to a personal goal, and suddenly hours just vanish. The energy isn't just there, it feels like it's generating more energy.
Yes, that's it. And the source makes a really bold statement here. It says, the pull of purpose will always outlast the push of pressure.
Always. That's strong. So why? Why does purpose have that kind of staying power? What's the secret sauce there, psychologically speaking?
Well, I think it comes back to that idea of resistance. Pressure, almost by definition, creates friction, resistance. You're pushing against something or something's pushing against you.
Right.
And that can lead straight to burnout because it's basically an adversarial relationship with whatever you're doing. You're fighting it.
Okay.
Purpose, though.
Yeah.
That taps into something deeper, your values, what you find meaningful.
Yeah.
When your actions line up with your purpose, it becomes less about jumping over a hurdle and more about just expressing who you are. It connects to that idea of a flow state,
Yeah.
where the challenge feels right and the activity itself is the reward. You're not forcing it. You're kind of in sync with yourself.
So it's less effortful because it's more you.
Exactly. The resilience comes from that. It's an internal engine. It reinforces itself. Unlike the push, which needs constant external fuel and eventually runs out.
Okay, this is compelling. But if this pull of purpose is so powerful, this sort of self-sustaining engine, how do we find it? Or build it? Because, let's be honest, for a lot of people, purpose feels like this huge, maybe even intimidating thing. Something you spend your life searching for.
Right.
How do you actually shift from just reacting to all the daily pushes, the demands, to being guided by this internal pull, especially when the pressures feel so real and immediate? It sounds great, but maybe almost too simple.
Yeah, that's a fair question. And the source isn't really suggesting, I think, that purpose is some kind of magic bullet you just find overnight.
Yeah.
It seems to imply that just understanding this distinction Push versus pull lets you start looking for alignment more consciously.
Okay, so it's more about awareness first.
Kind of. It's about maybe asking yourself more often, okay, why am I doing this? Is it because I have to, or because it connects to something inside me that I genuinely want to move towards?
Yeah.
It could be a subtle shift, a moment by moment check in rather than a grand quest.
Right, just noticing more.
Exactly. And this awareness, this questioning, kind of leads us towards the source's final thought, which is really quite profound. It flips the whole idea of needing a reason on its head. It says,
Yeah.
you don't need a reason to begin. You've become the reason.
Wow. Okay. You don't need a reason to begin. You've become the reason. That really lands differently, doesn't it? We're always told to look for the why, the external trigger, a New Year's resolution, a promotion, seeing what someone else is doing.
The external push.
Yeah. But this suggests the strongest motivation doesn't come from finding a reason out there. It comes from some kind of internal change. It's not about finding the reason, it's about being the reason. Can you unpack that a bit more? What does it actually mean to be the reason? How does that work?
Well, I think it means getting beyond the need for external validation or an external starting gun, really. When you are the reason, it implies your own commitment, your own inner drive, that alignment with purpose we talked about.
Yeah.
That becomes the force that starts things.
So the action comes from who you are, not what you'll get.
Essentially, yes. It's a shift from thinking about motivation like a transaction. If I do X, I get Y reward or avoid Y punishment, to something more existential, almost.
Yeah.
The action flows naturally from your identity, from your core values. There's this sense of inner coherence. You don't need that outside push because your very self, what you stand for, is providing the momentum.
Huh.
And that's where effort can start to feel genuinely effortless, or at least deeply aligned. Because it's just an expression of you, not a chore you have to get through.
Okay, so wrapping this up then, the core idea from our deep dive today is really stark. That crucial difference between the push of pressure and the pull of purpose. And the source is pretty emphatic that the pull of purpose will always outlast the push of pressure. We've sort of unpacked why that might be: intrinsic motivation, less resistance, tapping into who you are.
That's the essence of it, yeah.
So let's bring this back to you, listening. If you really take that idea seriously, that you don't need an external reason to begin, that you can actually become the reason, what does that unlock for you? What new possibilities open up if your drive isn't dependent on shifting external demands, but comes from somewhere deeper, more constant inside yourself?
Yeah, really sit with that final, powerful statement from the source. You don't need a reason to begin. You've become the reason. Think about something you've maybe been putting off, or something that feels like a constant struggle, like you're always fighting yourself to do it. What might change if you tried approaching it? Not because you have to, not even because you have a perfectly defined reason why, but simply from a place of being the reason. What does it mean for you in your life to be your own most powerful, most enduring source of motivation? And how could you start applying that idea right now, letting that internal pull guide you instead of waiting for the next push?